morning, everyone. Welcome back to Vince Anello Show on WJJL 1440. And you can reach us live at 297-1059. Today our guest is Seth Piccirillo. He's head of the economic development team over at City Hall and Niagara Falls government. And we're going to discuss a number of things today, but what we want to do at the beginning of the program is really touch on certain points that we both feel are very important, and we'll take care of those and then start taking in the phone calls. Good morning, Seth. How you doing?
Doing very well. Thanks again for having me.
Well, it's my pleasure. I know that you even been on the news lately, and regarding that Leadership Niagara.
Leadership Niagara was very kind to give me the Emerging Leader Award yesterday. It was a really nice lunch, but more importantly, I think that was an award for our entire community development department and all the volunteers and residents that work with us. So it was, I think it was a team recognition, and it was very nice of them to do. And Sheriff Volter was Leader of the Year, and at the end of his speech, he said, "Now it's time to get back to work."
Right,
and I think
exactly.
that's exactly what I took away from it. So it was very nice of them.
Well, that's great, and congratulations.
Thank you.
I know you have some things you want to cover. Why don't we go to those first?
Sure. There is a lot going on this week, exciting things. Tomorrow, the Isaiah 61 Reclaim Store, their temporary site, opens at 10 o'clock. They are going to be open Fridays through Sunday, 10 to 6. That is a store that, in partnership with community development and their funders, they go into vacant buildings before they're demolished, salvage building materials, and then resell them. I've been to the store a couple of times. It's amazing what they found. I think the community, if they come through, are going to be very impressed and find a lot of use in it. This is their temporary site at 2411 Hyde Park Boulevard in the Harper Plaza. Later this year, they will be moving into the Fire Hall at 3721 Highland Avenue,
right.
A project that our department in partnership with the state are renovating. The city council just approved, and the planning board just approved sale of that property and grant acceptance, so we're excited that's moving along. And in the meantime, Isaiah 61 will have this reclaim store on Hyde Park Boulevard. So really, you're going from vacant buildings to a new business. We're very excited about that. Also this Saturday, an event that, since I was a kid, I think is really one of the most important in the region. The Niagara Beautification Commission's Clean Sweep is this Saturday. Rain or shine. It starts under the arches of the casino at 8. You can come, you can get your bags and your gloves, clean up any area of the city that you want, and then at around 11 o'clock or noon, there's a hot dog lunch at the Oasis at Hyde Park. We have over 800 people that come to this event. I would call it one of the largest and most organized in the region.
Oh, I agree.
And it's been around, it's one of those real traditions that we have here that no matter what, because the weather for some reason never cooperates, we all get together and we get stuff done on that Saturday, and it's a great thing.
No, I agree, and I've attended quite a few of those.
Right.
Even at times, I remember bringing my daughter, my grandkids. It can be a family event.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, I think the group encourages that
Mm-hmm.
you do it not just a community event, but make it a special thing for the family. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure the weather's going to be all right.
I hope as long as it doesn't rain, but even rain or shine.
Right.
So that's something that we're really looking forward to. And then one other thing, we're getting ready to do our 2015 Community Development Action Plan. And as always, we start with public input. Again, I think that we have a very transparent process, and every year we try to improve on it. This year it starts with 4 citywide neighborhood events. They're very laid back. It's not a formal thing. You come, you talk to us about what you think we should invest in, what the needs in your neighborhood are. We write them on a board. We calculate them. We track them. There's no formal speakers. It's really informal, and those events are May 21st, and this will all be publicized in the paper. May 21st at 5:30 at the LaSalle Public Library. May 22nd at 5:30 at the Neighborhood Housing Services Building at 479 16th Street. May 28th at 6 o'clock at the Doris Jones Resource Building at 30019 Street. and then May 29th at our building at the Carnegie Building, 1022 Main Street at 5:30. Our slogan is that this budget starts with you. We are very serious about that, and we would really appreciate for people to come down, give their input. If they can't make it, if they're working, they can call me at 286-8801. They can leave us messages on our Facebook of things that they want to see. Most importantly, we need that input because we want to bring that input to the city council and then to the federal government for the approval of our budget. So those are three things that we have going on. We are also working with National Grid to market vacant commercial space throughout the city. If you are a building owner and you have a storefront or some commercial space that you are trying to rent, we are putting together an event in May to just provide that information to people that might be potential business owners or investors. So again, if you have that type of the space, please give me a call at 286-8801, and we can get that on the list.
Okay, good. And then, if you want to just later on in the show, if you want to, bring up some of the ones that are important to have
Yeah.
dates attached to them.
Sure.
Certainly, it would be a worthwhile effort. One of the things that I want to cover, just to clear it up for the public, you just mentioned about the budget and the public hearing. This is the same budget that in the last few years has been somewhat contentious because of some of the, and I only use the word contentious based on some of the quotes that I saw in the paper from some of the councilmen. Some of them felt that they were kept out of the process. And it was hard for me to understand then, and it's hard for me to understand now. You can be kept out of a process that has public hearings.
Well, the nice thing about this process, and we're trying to, 2 years ago, it was unfortunate how this all happened. Last year was an improvement, but the main point is this. In these 4 budget meetings, everybody's equal. You're a resident, you're an elected official, everybody is the same. You come and you give your input. Now, we are going to make sure that we keep the council informed at every step of the way. And we just want to say in the beginning, it's everybody giving their input on equal footing. So this is very transparent. There are going to be 2 different public hearings. Then it goes to city council. All of this, as in everything that we do, is published on our website, and it's all public documents. So we try to be as transparent as possible, and we want to welcome everybody in, especially for these 4 neighborhood meetings to start it off.
Well, and that's good. I wanted to clear that up because what I also wanted to point out about the community development budget is that you also have federal guidelines that you have to abide by. So, with that, even at the point of how much money you spend on administration, I think is also defined by federal guidelines.
Correct. We spend 20% of our federal allocation on our salary. We also get other grants to pay for salary. I would say right now, because of some of the changes that we've made, community development is the least expensive for the city that it's been in a long time because we did make some staff reduction. We did go out and get other grants that can cover salary. So we're proud of that. But I also think we should talk about, the fact that our community development department is made up of 15 employees. That's the number of staff that we have. We're all located at the Carnegie Building, but that staff ranges from me to inspectors that are out there in the field every day that cover the entire county for leased housing. That includes our commercial facade, our home renovation programs, our leased housing program. But all of that together is 15 people. It's not 25 people or 30 people. I think for a group of 15 people, we get a lot done. And we're not patting ourselves on the back, but that's our group of employees.
Now, you just mentioned inspectors. Now, those inspectors actually inspect units where rents are subsidized by that federal grant, right? It's called what, Section 8?
Section 8 leased housing. These are housing quality specialists, they're called. And they don't just cover the city, they cover the entire county. So one of our inspectors, you start on Main Street, leaving the Carnegie Building probably about 8:15, you might be in Alcott. They are constantly on the road, and for 2 inspectors, they get many units inspected every day. It's very impressive. So those are our inspectors.
Okay, so you're saying 15 actually operate for this overall program that's funded by federal dollars.
Yes.
And it has to do a lot with the leased housing and some of the demolitions that you do in specific areas. That's another thing. The federal government is specific about what areas you cover. An area has to qualify
Right.
to be able to receive funding. Like, for instance, I remember sidewalks used to be done with community development money. Streets were resurfaced with community development money. Demolitions were done with community development money. And what would happen is, because you had to focus on those qualified areas, there were other parts of the city that you couldn't do demolitions or resurface roads with that money. So one of the things that I did, when I came into office, understanding that and seeing that we were kind of neglecting certain parts of the city because they were just on that borderline, we mimicked every single program that we approved at community development. We mimicked all over the city and funded that with the casino money.
So, and that's a very good point. We are now with the casino situation resolved, what we're doing is we are now doing streets and sidewalks again with community development money in the 2014 plan. But what we're doing is we're working with DPW of saying, all right, we will be able to do these streets in these specific areas, which will free you up to do streets and sidewalks in our non-targeted areas with casino dollars. So we are supplementing the work that DPW is doing. So we're reducing city costs because we're freeing up DPW's ability to do that work in other areas of the city.
Because I remember there was one home in LaSalle that people in the neighborhood were constantly coming to City Hall, and there was no way, we didn't have the money allocated by City Council, and we didn't have the money that we could use from community development, and people could not understand, why are you doing demolitions, all these demolitions downtown area, but you're not doing them in LaSalle? Finally, when that money was available, we took steps forward, and I remember very well that we resurfaced a lot of streets in LaSalle and did some demolitions in LaSalle, because let's face it, the housing stock in LaSalle is different than the housing stock in downtown, the older parts of the city, anyway.
So, like what our demolition contracts look like now is that you'll see, we have on our current list, we have a house that's in the 80s in LaSalle. We're paying for that in casino money. We're also next Monday demolishing the old Whitney apartments. That's CD money. It becomes just how you budget it. And we have a combination of CD money and casino dollars that we use for demolitions. And I think that we've been moving at a pretty steady pace. I know that there are certain times where people say, I see you're doing a demolition over here, but you're not doing the demolition on my street. I completely respect that. What we try to do is take out the biggest examples of blight. I go back to the Whitney Apartments example that is really just strangles that neighborhood. It's got to go, and it's going on Monday.
Well, that's good to hear. And again, we do have people on the line. Maybe we'll go to some other calls, but then I want to follow up on the list that we have in place to provide information for the residents of Niagara Falls. Caller, you're on.
Hey, good morning, Seth. How you doing, Chris?
Hey, Chris. How you doing?
Hi, Chris.
Listen, there are certain parts of the city that fall under black grants, right?
Correct.
Through the community development.
Correct.
And they change from time to time, right?
They're pretty set. The areas that aren't covered by block grant funds are like farther closer to like the city border in LaSalle and DeVoe. Other than that, a large majority of our city is eligible for block grant funding.
Okay, so somebody is looking at a place and they're thinking of incorporating, using, the block grant system. Because I did it one time before on Spruce Avenue when that area was under, and they helped me secure money for a new roof and siding and everything. Eventually, was paid back, but it was
deferred loan.
Some kind of a program because of the credit that I had was, I was just a young guy and didn't really have credit, but they helped me.
Right.
Is that the way it still works?
Yeah, it's still the deferred loan program, and the what you explained of, somebody who's starting off in their career would need help renovating a home, first time home buyer is exactly what it's set up for. Like we do, like citywide actually, the city and neighborhood housing services do closing cost assistance grants to new home buyers, and we do a lot of them for people that are starting off, want to buy a home but need some assistance. And
so how do we get the map? I mean, to see what areas are actually covered?
The map, and I can send it to you, but it is also on our website, nf-cd.org. You'll see a right
what
on
is it now?
NF. NF. C is in community, D is in development.org.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Under the directors update section, you'll see a link for the map. And then it's also on our Facebook, and I'll send you one as well.
But what about income? That if I remember, that played a part in it.
There are income qualifications. They're pretty. It goes, and that's also on our website. It goes from either if there's one person, two people in the home. It would definitely be. People that are starting off and even working obviously would definitely have a good chance of qualifying, and it's something that they should take a look at, and it's something that we have to continue to find new ways to advertise so the public knows about it. We want to make sure the public knows what we're doing.
Yeah, because my son's been looking, and we've been toying with different things. He's had some credit problems, but we've cleared a lot of those up, and we've gone way past that. But
well have them give me
the days of walking in and getting a mortgage is just.
Chris, why don't you just dig up some of those coffee cans you have buried in the backyard?
Well, Chris, how about you have your son?
I could go see Uncle Si too, but I don't know.
Chris, have your son give me a call. I'd be happy to walk him through the paperwork.
That might be a route he might be able to use.
I'll be back at my office in about an hour.
Okay, great, Seth.
Thanks for the call.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Hey, now, wait a minute. One other question. Sure. The meeting you're going to have at the pub, at the Lacell Library, are you looking for things like lighting and signage, or what exactly can you tell us what you want us to bring?
Sure. We have changed the CD plan over the last couple of years I've been here to more bricks and mortars things. We are doing sidewalks, lighting. We are doing road work and sidewalks. So those are things because I hear that in the neighborhoods often that those are needs. Other than that, like specific areas where, saying this street needs this improvement, or if you think that there are youth service programs that are needed, or, really, and it doesn't just have to, we're not going to say, oh, that's not a CD project. We just want to hear everything that the neighborhood is saying and try to work from there.
Okay, I think that's a great idea. Hey, Vince.
Yes, sir.
I got a horse for you in the Derby. It's his first part of his name is Vince. So if you look at the thing, maybe you can make a few bucks Saturday if you feel like it.
Yeah, I remember.
Seriously, there's a horse named Vince.
Well, I'm gonna have to check that out. I normally don't bet horses, but I'll bet on that.
No, I know you don't. But
I'll bet on that one.
You get a good laugh out of this one.
All right, take care.
Have a good
Take
day.
care. Thanks a lot. And we do have other callers on the line, and we'll get right to you. But I do want to have a question answered regarding some of the things that just came up.
Yeah.
And it has to do with the housing. Mm-hmm. Do we still have training classes for first-time home buyers?
Yes.
I'm going to tell you something. We started those during my administration, okay? Mm-hmm. So now I hired somebody because I was told to hire, it was suggested to me to be a person, a very good public speaker, So, after some reservation, through the process, through human resources, and through some discussion, we were able to fund a position for somebody to do the training. Guess what the first thing that person said in the first class?
What?
If it were me, I would never buy a house in the city of Niagara Falls. It took me 4 months of trying to get rid of that person, couldn't get rid of him.
Well, see, it's interesting. I bought a house before I worked for the city in Niagara Falls, and there are some great housing values, and there's some things that people don't know, and honestly, I didn't know when I bought a house that this class helps you with. The bank's first-time home buyer matching,
Right.
they all have one.
Right.
They're all a little bit different. They're all called something different. If you participate in those programs, you are going to save money.
Right.
One of them through the Key Club, and M&T has something very similar. You put money into a fund in the months up to when you're buying the house, because chances are you know you're getting ready to buy a house.
Right.
That money essentially makes you money,
Right.
helps you with your mortgage. There are so many different things, including our closing cost, $3,500 grant, that are out there to help people buy homes in Niagara Falls, and it's something that we have to continue to advertise, because every time that people, a realtor was talking to me the other day and said, I didn't know about that program. Well, then that's on us. We got to make sure that realtors especially
Right.
know about our programs.
We did. I remember inviting the realtors, and as a matter of fact, they were part of the process at the beginning. We asked them. To participate and help us train the people. But I did have early disappointments. Caller, you're on.
Would that be me?
Yes, sir.
Well, good morning. Listen, I have a question. I want to know why or if the city could take some casino money and dedicate it to a in-house demolition. Now, if the city is getting, I don't know how much they get a year from the casino, dollars, the millions. How much is it a year? Just guess.
Well, this year will be,
Anybody?
I don't know, 8 to 10 million, right?
Right.
Or the next payment will be
Okay.
about 8 to 10 million.
But I'm glad you're bringing up this point, because this is something I definitely want to
Doesn't
talk
it make
about.
sense to take some of that money and make our own in-house demolition crew that could work year-round as a separate entity of the city? I mean, you could train a couple of these guys or hire a few guys off the street that are out of work that have asbestos training. They work a crane or whatever, like machine operators, and they could do this themselves instead of the city being, these people that tear down the houses for the city, these people that you contract out, they're there to make money.
Well-
Okay, they're going to make their money. You understand it's business. But if you have our own guys that are working there for a set salary, there's no profit involved, and I think would be lower cost.
Well,
Any money from the casino, if that's something that you could use the casino dollars for.
Sir, I'm glad you're bringing up this point, because it's come up in the past, and you have to look at the details of things of what you would have to do to get to an in-house demolition, right? You would have to.
I mean, other cities across the country do it. Sorry to interrupt. But
Right. So our price per demolition right now is $19,000 to $22,000 per house. So to do an in-house demolition, you would have to purchase the equipment, train the individuals, then hire new, because if you're saying, as someone said, use current DPW people, or if they're working in the winter, if there is a snowstorm, you can't leave a controlled demolition halfway through to go do something else. You need
No,
people.
what I meant was
well,
a separate division.
Right. Let me finish.
Go ahead.
So you would have to have insurance, equipment, the people to actually do the demolitions. And then there are several trainings and a lot of other things that they would have to do. I don't see the savings to do it on a wide scale. Now, what we have talked about, if we wanted to try to do one that way to see how it would work, you would have to lease the equipment. I don't see that it would be a savings, especially because you would be opening the city up to a new liability of if you hit the house next to you.
I respectfully disagree. I would say that this is just something. This is something that's is done in other cities around the nation. You could easily look up online and find cities that are doing it and get advice. 1 second. You would hire competent individuals to do the job. I mean, all houses aren't just right on top of each other. Chances are most of these houses that are getting demolished in parts of the city have empty lots next to them.
Not most.
Okay, it's a cancer. All right, the city's a disaster, and I'm not sticking up for mentioning this for anybody else. I'm just saying there's a lot of empty houses. This is something that could be done and save the city money.
Let me suggest something.
I mean, if money is being spent, casino money is being spent on other projects, i.e. train stations or whatever, all right, this is something, a couple $1 million jumpstart this.
But all I'm saying, sir, is it's not a couple of $1 million. That's all. I mean, and I understand what you're saying. If there's ever a chance to do something less expensive, I think we've shown that we would always want to do that. But it wouldn't just be a couple $1 million. it would be multi-million dollars to set up a division to do demolitions.
Can I suggest
Well,
something?
whatever it costs. I mean, it would
Well,
cost,
whatever it costs is not-
End result would save money.
I can't evaluate things of whatever they'll cost.
Well, let me suggest something. A program like this could be started part-time with part-time workers that were trained, okay? The ability to train people for asbestos removal is here. It can be done. We had 6 members of DPW one time trained for asbestos removal. But you know, a lot of people don't want to talk about it loudly and in public, but it was actually the pressure from the Laborers Local 91 that convinced some public officials to dismantle the team and not refund it. But something could be done, I think, or looked at. Okay, because what Mr. Piccirillo is saying is true, because once you absorb those costs, you have to look at the long-range implications of pensions, health care, and everything else. But if you could start a pilot program part-time and use the assets of even Isaiah, where they're doing the recycling, and you could
That's
target
fantastic,
some of these
that's right.
properties.
Well, here,
Yes.
and I think, and I've said this to, because we've had this conversation, because I think it's a good conversation. I think if we could just try it by leasing the equipment and trying one, as opposed to, I just would hate to see us buy all
Start
the
a
equipment,
department,
and then
right.
something changes, and then we don't do it anymore.
The reason I say this, I have a friend of mine who is, they own heavy equipment. They demolish factories. And they moved from Niagara Falls to Buffalo. They work all over the world now. And, you know, I brought this conversation up to one friend of mine in this family that does this. They're multimillionaires. He goes, it was so simple to do. It would really, you know, for them to be simple. But, I mean, the whole system would be simple to set up. I mean, you could have this department not only demolish homes, and it could also be a cleanup. Do cleanups as well. They could really grow into something that this city needs. I mean, you know, it could be like part of a construction crew.
Okay,
You know, when you're done tearing down another hundreds of houses, you can go and do something else.
Thank you very
these
much,
houses are gonna
caller.
Keep popping up. All right, good luck.
Well,
Thank you.
and again, I think it's a good conversation. What I would want us to do is to just not have to buy equipment to do it, and say to roll out this big thing, which often happens in government. We're going to do this, and it's going to be great. And then not only are they going to do demolitions, they're going to do other stuff. I would rather focus on one house first to try it, and that's what I've communicated to everybody involved.
No, and I would agree with that. And also buying equipment, I'm a little sensitive about buying equipment because when we bought a piece of equipment that we could do potholes without material in the wintertime, the workers didn't want to do it, so what they did was destroy the piece of equipment. And then later on, because the department head didn't want to cope with that, it sold the equipment at bargain basement prices and maligned the equipment to justify the sale. So, you know, there are a lot of things that you have to put up with, you know, when you try to form a department.
And I do want to go back to that, if we have a caller on. You also have to make sure there are employees that are interested in doing it. Now, when you're doing a demolition,
Right, exactly.
that means you are in the suit.
Right, right.
You can't walk away from a demolition and work on something else. You
Right.
are doing it. Someone would have to make a decision to leave whatever other part of DPW or the city they're working on and work on demolitions exclusively and go through that training. And you know, working on a controlled demolition means you're exposed to certain things that you might not be.
exactly. I have most of the licenses, believe it or
Right.
not, for asbestos removal and work in confined spaces and all of that. I went through all the training.
Right.
So I understand exactly what you're saying, especially in the summer, wearing those suits, and sometimes you have to wear a mask. It's not that comfortable. So yes, you couldn't just go and open it up at your department and have the senior guys, you know, play their games with their seniority list. And no, you'd have to get people to say, this is your job every day that you come into work. Don't go, you know, don't looking for, you know, a ride on the lawnmower or driving around the truck all day long, because this is where you're going to be.
It's very specific.
It would be difficult. I agree with the caller that it can be done, but I think it has, you know, it's not that simple within the confines of what you're restricted to when it comes to, you know, doing it as a government. And we're going to go to you, caller.